Like, share, and subscribe to my channel as I continue to provide you with trusted information for you to use to make a decision. Now, today I want to deal with Mark Golden, the flat leader. Now, I want you to take your time with me. I do not want you to be emotional or erratic and begin to tell me about who my mother is and what my bloodline is, and that I might be an inferior person in terms of thinking thoughts. But I want you to listen carefully to what I have to say. Dissect things with me and let us have a conversation. Let us have not really a monologue, but let's have a dialogue in which we are conversing, where I put forward my thoughts, you're putting forward your thoughts, and let's see if we can actually make sense of what is actually going on. I grew up on listening to Michael Manley and Edward Seaga. And at the time in Jamaica's history, people were enthralled by dialect, by conversation, by wit, by speaking, by flair, by class, by rhetoric, by wit. And it was such an enjoyable experience to sit down and actually watch the budget debate with Mr. Manley's eloquence and fluency and Mr. Siaga's wit, charm. It was an experience. At those times in Jamaica's history, the budget debate was a thing that almost all Jamaicans would have to see because we were enthralled by charm with eloquence, fluidity in terms of thought, speech, brevity, and people wanted just to hear or just to get a glimpse of such eloquence by both stalwarts Michael Manley and Edward Seago. Today, I'm looking at both political leaders and I'm contrasting those political leaders with the past. I'm using the past in terms of Michael Manley and Edward Seaga. You may want to actually go further and deeper into the dialogue in terms of looking at other political leaders, but I want to take those two persons. Now, whenever we had Michael Manley as the Prime Minister in Jamaica, he had a particular flair and style. And we also wanted to hear the opposition's speaker, leader, that is, Mr. Edward Seago. And sometimes it actually flips. But we were always enthralled by what is it that you were going to be getting from both individuals, the knowledge, the intellectual acumen, the thoughts, and the view, and of course, the flair in speech. Today, I'm looking at Jamaica, and I'm looking at Dr. Holness and Mr. Mark Golding. Both men are not the person that people want to actually listen to, similar to what transpired or what obtained during the Michael Manley, Edward Seaga era, or even Shira Manley era, or even the other eras. We want to extend that the discussion beyond just Edward Seaga and Michael Manley. And I'm saying to you, Mr. Wholeness has mellowed, has blossomed in terms of his speaking ability, despite the fact that he was head boy at Catherine and he would have actually gotten a lot of opportunity to actually speak. But he was flat when he started. He has melody in terms of being a better speaker. Mr. Hollis has blossomed into being a better speaker. But I'm looking at Mr. Mark Golding. And the more I look at Mr. Mark Golding and compare him to other speakers in the PNP, whether it wants to be Mr. Patterson, whether it wants to be Mr. Phillips, whether it wants to be Michael Manley, whether it wants to be Norman Manley, and I'm saying he is the flattest of them all. I want to listen to this presentation by Mr. Golding. It's not somebody interjecting inside of the discussion. It's just Mr. Golden presenting his thoughts. And I want you to look at how he speaks, look at his articulation, and compare him with the other political speakers in the PNP, those who are leaders, and tell me if Mr. Golden is not a flat leader in terms of his delivery, in terms of his rhetoric, in terms of his motivational acumen, in terms of his reach to the people. There is some gap between what he speaks and what it reaches to one's heart and soul. When we had Mr. Michael Manley and Mr. Siaga, those men were speakers. People would sat for hours waiting for the speakers, waiting for the budget debate, waiting to hear these gentlemen. Now, when you hear Mr. Mark Golden, I'm wondering how it is that the PNP have selected this gentleman as a leader, knowing full well the PNP of old, who the speakers were, who the leaders were. But let's take it and look at it for what it is. And I want to actually agree or disagree with me about what I'm saying, that Mr. Golden is the flattest PNP leader in terms of being a speaker compared to all the others. And when you take Mr. Golden in comparison to his opposition, that is Mr. Oh, sorry, I must beg your pardon for this, it's Dr. Andrew Holness. Both men are night and day apart. The speech is so flat that I'm wondering what is going on. What would he sound like to be a prime minister? Will he learn? Well, this gentleman is a lawyer, is he? Why is he this flat? Why is he not reaching one's soul? Wow, where's that? Where's that style, that flair, that acumen of words? Where's that reach? What is happening? Let's look at this presentation by Mr. Golden.
My fellow Jamaicans, the final moments of 2024 have come and gone, and today we begin a new chapter, the dawn of a new year, brimming with the promise and opportunity to chart a better course for ourselves, our families, and our beloved Jamaica. The dawn of a new year is a call to embrace fresh beginnings, to reflect on the lessons of yesterday, and to step boldly into tomorrow with purpose and determination. As we step into 2025,
I want you to think for a second. Are you inspired so far by his presentation? Has he motivated you to wanting to think or to delve into the new year? What is his style? What is his stance? Are you reached by the gentleman's spoken words? Is he getting to the core of your being? Are you being ignited? And I want you to think of the PNP of old. Michael. No. You want to actually say what people call him? Joshua? Leader? Visionary? PJ Patterson. The style that he used. What style Mr. Golden using? Michael Manley. Norman Manley. Portia Simpson Miller. Peter Phillips. They had style and flair. Where is Mr. Golden? Will this be his downfall in getting the JLP a third term? Let's continue listening.
we do so with hope in our hearts, even as we honestly and courageously acknowledge the challenges that we face as a nation. The past year has been one of mixed fortunes for our country. On the positive side, our field events to a new level, bringing glory to Jamaica at the Paris Olympics and showing the world the breadth of our talent in athletics.
Let me take you back again. Are you inspired by the spoken words? Look at the greatness of what transpired at the Paris Olympics. How he spoke about the Paris Olympics. Were you ignited? Were you enthused? Were you motivated? The gentleman was so flat that I don't want to listen to anything that he has to say. What about you? Is that the leader that the PNP has chosen? Is that a leader that you want to represent you? Jamaica is one of those societies, unlike many other societies in the world, nation, countries, what you want to refer to is that in terms of jargon, terminology, concepts, is one of those leaders that thrive on spoken words, thrive on flair, unlike many other nations. Jamaica is a pompous society that goes extremely off flair, and class for Jamaica is flair. Wit for Jamaica, when integrated with flair, represents leadership. And that is why Bolt represented Jamaica well, because he epitomizes what Jamaica is all about, flair. Mr. Andrew Holness is somewhat learning that flair. Mr. Mark Gould, on the other hand, has no flair. Has absolutely no flair. Somebody needs to actually go and repackage Mr. Golding in the context of Jamaica loving flair. This is not what a number of Jamaicans are looking for. Jamaicans love the flair. Currently, Mr. Golding does not have that flair. He's a flat leader. Will that be his downfall? Will that be the PNP's downfall? When you look at other persons in the People's National Party, such as the young Damian Crawford, he embodies the flair that Jamaicans love. His style takes me back to Manley's style. And when you actually look at PJ's style was that of a master craftsman. You know, words are placed together, thoughts are done. When you look at Portia Simpson Miller, had a similar flair like Michael Manley, similar flair like Edward Siaka, similar flair like Damian Crawford. When I now look at Mr. Golding, what does he have? Possibly a cultural background as a Jamaican, being a lawyer, being a wealthy businessman. But are those sufficient to be a leader? Are those what the people of Jamaica are looking for? Will you be willing to vote for the People's National Party under the leadership of Mr. Golding? What flair are you getting? What sense are you getting that he's a leader? Is his leadership going to be that push to get you to vote? Does his leadership ignite you to wanting to be a PNP and to vote for the PNP and not have the JLP staying in power? Or will you vote for Andrew Holness because he more have flair that you're looking for? Let me hear what your thoughts are. My opinion is Mr. Golding is one of the flattest political leaders in Jamaica's history in terms of being a party leader. What are your thoughts? Let me hear them. Share this video with someone. Let's have a dialogue, not a monologue, where I am just talking and then you're just talking. Put forward an idea. Let me hear what your thoughts are. Let us have a serious dialogue on this matter, because Will this mean a third term for the JLP because of the leader of the People's National Party? Or will the People's National Party leader change Jamaica from getting a third term by the Jamaica Labour Party?